Yuzuru Hanyu came to cricket. A little nostalgia for the past and finally taking home the old poo. It will be the reunion of the century. And in Japan, he'll introduce both poos to each other. Hopefully, the bears will become friends. That's so great. Got here at last. After 3 years. Well, now there's a serious conversation to be had with Pooh. We begin tonight's broadcast of Notte Stellata. Behind the scenes of the Notte Stellata. Yuzuru Hanyu envying Kohei's biceps is cute. Yuzuru Hanyu, you have beautiful arms and you don't need those biceps. But you have more muscles in your legs, and your legs and buttocks are very beautiful and sculpted. At the Japanese championships, the first thing I did was to create an axis twist. The essence of the approach is that the faster the axle is created, the faster you enter the twist. Even though I couldn't get to the end of the 4.5 turns, that means I can do it even faster. I've been thinking since then that this is something I need to work on. He confidently said, not I want to twist even faster, but I can twist even faster. In other words, 4.5 turns is not an unknown goal. He knows it's possible for him, and he's looking for a way to solve it. Why does he have confidence? One reason is the existence of a perfect moment in the twist, which he is now working on. Just as he did during his warm-up on the floor, he has worked for years to stretch out the perfect spin axis, to make it comfortable to the limit. As a result, he was able to twist 4s effortlessly. By finding the perfect torque in the twist, there will be a real sense of being able to twist the 4-axle faster than you can now. Only an axle can't get into a perfect twist moment. In the case of my axle, that's probably not an option. However, he says it's not an easy task at all. All jumps except the axle are twisted sideways to center the body like a warm-up. But I don't twist the axle sideways, so I can't get into the spin axis like I do there. There's a point where I bring both arms forward, toward my chest, and it slows the entry into the axis. That's why I'm trying to figure out how to approach it in the case of the axle. In the quadruple Talyup, Salcho and Ritberger, the twist begins by locking the arms in a horizontal position and immediately pressing them against the chest at the moment of the jump. But only in the axle are both arms pulled back to help the force of the jump, and after lifting into the air the twist is initiated by pressing the arms against the chest. At the end of the day, I want to hit my perfect twist moment, as I do in other jumps. But whether it's right for me, I really don't know. For my axle without a stopper, it probably may not be the answer. I'm close to the answer, but I keep trying to find the moment in which my axle twists the fastest, and I hope that eventually I will succeed. Some athletes use the stopper technique, in which, sliding sideways as if scraping the ice with the rib of their left skate, they twist nearly 90 degrees before pulling away from the ice. But Yuzuru Hanyu doesn't take that approach. To twist all the way to a beautiful high and spanning quadruple axle is Hanyu Yuzuru's quadruple axle and Hanyu Yuzuru's ideal. At the Olympics, I thought my old axle was perfect. But now the 27-year-old Yuzuru Hanyu is skating much better. However, looking back at the Beijing Olympics, he then jumped a 4-axle with an unprecedentedly high twist rate. That axle was certified as a quadruple undercurve. Immediately after the ride, Yuzuru Hanyu described the feeling in the air as something only I had experienced. And he also talked about how he entered that incredible twist axis. Wasn't she that perfect twist moment? The fact that I landed on one foot and couldn't stand up means there was no good axis. As a result, it's more likely to land in a better position, axis, when you pull out, even if it's on 2 legs. In that sense, I still want to find the perfect axle torque for my axle. And he continued, more of the same. Still, I think the twist axle alone is not enough. Thinking about it now, I actually got into it, the twist, very quickly. It came out so abruptly, oops. But thinking about the feeling of speed before going in, and whether I was using the rib correctly, to be honest, I wonder if I could have gone a notch higher. At the time, I went back to my way of jumping the axle and thought it was perfect. But if it were the way I was jumping it now at 27, I could slide more. Using that gliding power, the moment I was in the air after the approach, I needed more smooth skating power, during the Beijing Olympics. Afterwards I noticed that apparently I still lacked that very smoothness. That's why I had a feeling I wanted to add something at the Beijing Olympics. When asked immediately after his Beijing Olympics ride if he would continue to challenge for the fourth axle, Yuzuru Hanyu said, "Let me think about it for a while. I've done pretty much everything I could." The fact that just a few months later he can say, "After I noticed I still haven't done enough," shows a relentless desire to develop, shows Yuzuru Hanyu. I can still very much to what I can do. The road to a perfect four-axle, to a perfect Hanyu Yuzuru continues. I learned a lot from the Beijing Olympics. How to twist faster? How do I press my ribs on the ice to get a smooth feeling? At what speed should I go in for better control? There are other things I can add. But if I continue to jump higher, to twist faster, to work on the strength of fluidity, I am afraid of injury. So first of all I need to create an axis as much as possible, and then I need to get to a position in the air, somehow. To do that I need to move both my upper and lower body. I can't do it without both of them moving at the same time. Spouting everything in the same breath, he said, I was just babbling on about all that technical stuff, wasn't I? And laughed like a boy. Why did he continue to challenge the four-axle after turning pro? Again, we understand that Hanyu did not aspire to be the first person in the world to successfully perform a 4.5-turn axle. Of course, in the beginning he probably had ambitions of public recognition for the first successful performance. With his learning curve, he could have easily achieved a four-axle landing with stop and pre-rotation techniques. But Hanyu did not set himself such a goal.